Snail Mail. An introduction to Snail Mail. Hi fans at Snail Mail. Snail Mail is the American indie rock solo project of guitarist and singer-songwriter Lindsey Jordan. 1. The band started playing songs live in 2015 and released the EP Habit in 2016. 2. 3. Snail Mail's debut studio album, Lush, was released on June 8, 2018, via Matador Records and was nominated for Breakthrough Artist Release and Best Rock Album at the 2019 Libera Awards. Snail Mail genre? Indie rock is a genre of rock music that originated in the United States and United Kingdom in the 1970s. Originally used to describe independent record labels, the term became associated with the music they produced and was initially used interchangeably with alternative rock or guitar pop rock. 1. In the 1980s, the use of the term indie, or indie pop, started to shift from its reference to recording companies to describe the style of music produced on punk and post-punk labels. 2. During the 1990s, grunge and punk revival bands in the US and Britpop bands in the UK broke into the mainstream, and the term alternative lost its original countercultural meaning. The term indie rock became associated with the bands and genres that remained dedicated to their independent status. 3. By the end of the 1990s, indie rock developed several subgenres and related styles, including lo-fi, noise pop, emo, slowcore, post-rock, and math rock. 3. In the 2000s, changes in the music industry and a growing importance of the internet enabled a new wave of indie rock bands to achieve mainstream success, leading to questions about its meaningfulness as a term. 4. Matador Records. Matador Records is an independent record label, with a roster of mainly indie rock, but also punk rock, experimental rock, alternative rock, and electronic acts. Lindsey Jordan is on the brink of something huge, and she's only just graduated high school. Her voice rises and falls with electricity throughout Lush, her debut album A Snail Mail, spinning with bold excitement and new beginnings at every turn. Is there any better feeling than coming clean? Sings the 18-year-old guitarist and songwriter halfway through the sprawling anthem that is Pristine, the album's first single. You can't help but agree with her. It's a hook that immediately sticks in your head, and a question she seems to be grappling with throughout the record's 10 songs of crystalline guitar pop. Throughout Lush, Jordan's clear and powerful voice, acute sense of pacing, and razor-sharp writing cut through the chaos and messiness of growing up, the passing trends, the awkward house parties, the sick-to-your-stomach crushes and the heart-wrenching breakups. Jordan's most masterful skill is in crafting tension, working with muted melodrama that builds and never quite breaks, stretching out over moody rockers and soft burning hooks, making for visceral slow releases that stick under the skin. Lush feels at times like an emotional roller coaster, only fitting for Jordan's explosive, dynamic personality. Growing up in Baltimore suburb Ellicott City, Jordan began her classical guitar training at age 5, and a decade later wrote her first audacious songs A Snail Mail. Around that time, Jordan started frequenting local shows in Baltimore, where she formed close friendships within the local scene, the impetus for her to form a band. By the time she was 16, she had already released her debut EP, Habit, on local punk label Sister Polygon Records. In the time that's elapsed since Habit, Jordan has graduated high school, toured the country, opened for the likes of Girlpool and Waxahachie as well as selling out her own headline shows, and participated in a round-table discussion for the New York Times about women in punk, giving her time to reflect and refine her songwriting process by using tempered pacings and alternate tunings to create a jaw-dropping debut both thoughtful and cathartic. Recorded with producer Jake Aaron and engineer Johnny Sheng, with contributions from touring bandmates drummer Ray Brown and bassist Alex Bass as well. Lush sounds cinematic, yet still perfectly homemade. The songs on Lush often come close to the 5-minute mark, making them long enough to get lost in. The album's more gauzy and meditative songs play out like ideal end-of-the-night soundtracks, the kind that might score a 3 a.m. conversation or a long drive home. From the finger-picking of speaking terms to the subtle, sweeping harmonies and French horn on deep sea. It only makes sense that Jordan wrote these songs late at night during a time when she was obsessively reading Eileen Myles and listening to a lot of slowcore and folk songwriters. Heat Wave is one of the album's most devastating moments, a song that wallows in a crumbling midsummer relationship. I broke it off, called out of my shift, and just cried in my bathtub and wrote this song, Jordan recalls. I was just so desperate to just get the way I was feeling out onto paper so that I could just have it and be done with it. It was almost kind of painful. It was like puking onto paper, and crying. This girl hurt my feelings. Towards the end of writing the record, I became better at dealing with my emotions. Jordan's personal crown jewel of the album, Let's Find An Out, puts her childhood classical guitar training on display. It's a road song of sorts, a nod to feeling young and disoriented on her first ever tour. I'd gotten knocked around a lot by the process. I was scared. It's sort of this love song about another person who is going through the same thing. You're always coming back a little older, but it looks alright on you, she belts over her intricate playing, on one of the album's most pensive and gorgeous moments. Lucky for us all, she doesn't sound scared anymore. Thank you.